When I say that everything that I could have wanted in this position, God was like, here, it's yours. Seriously, my mind is blown. Welcome back, or if you're new here, welcome. My name is Christy, and on my channel, I really make content centered around realizing that no matter where we are in life, no matter how old we are just on time to live the life of my dreams. My dreams? Our dreams. Y'all, I haven't done this for about a month, so we're a little bit rusty. But I make content centered around realizing that no matter where we are in life and no matter how old we are, we're just on time to live the life of our dreams. And on my channel, I really try to show how I'm living that out through my own life. And today, I get to make the video that I have been waiting to make for months, probably even years. Like before I was even thinking about YouTube, I was thinking, this is the thing that I want to do. This is so exciting. And I cannot believe that God has brought it like to pass, that he is actually manifested and literally just gave me what I have been wanting for a really, really long time. So if you don't know, when I'm not hanging out with you guys on YouTube, my actual career is in education, special education to be exact. I earned my PhD from Southern Methodist University. I was part of the class of 2020, but it was with my doctorate. So I accepted my dream job as a professor in special education for a pretty well-respected university here in St. Louis. I am so excited, like it's crazy every time I say it, like it's so crazy to be able to say, and I'm so thankful. I have always loved school, loved education, like love being in school. Always such a big nerd. I really had this desire to want to be a professor because I loved academia. I loved when I was in college. I just loved that whole atmosphere of it. And when I graduated, I ended up taking a position that was a very much not that at all. So I was the director of curriculum instruction for an organization in Memphis. I loved my position, even though it wasn't the thing that I initially said that I wanted to do. I had this fancy title and I got paid well, but I got to work with people that I really enjoyed working with. I got to talk about things that I really enjoyed talking about, literally everything that was in my dissertation, everything that I was doing in my PhD program. Those were the things that I got a chance to do in this role, but it was a lot. And I was a team of one doing a lot of big things. And because I had this fancy title, I never really felt like I could rest. So we would go on vacations, like once or twice a year. My husband and I would go on vacations, and I never felt like I could mentally rest. I would be away thinking about work or feeling bad that I wasn't working, wondering what were the things that I was going to come back to after I finished with vacation. And it was a lot of stress. In November of 2022, I ended up going to a conference where I got a chance to see my advisor from my PhD program and friends that I had in my PhD program. And it felt like home to be around them. And I suddenly missed being in academia so much. Like all of the dreams that I had and desires of being in an academic position and what that looked like, I missed it so much. And I really voiced to my advisor and to my friends there, I am thinking about really getting back into academia. I miss being able to do research, being able to write on papers and write with a team of people. I missed being able to teach at the college level. I loved all of that. So we fast forward a little bit. December came and left, January to 2023 came and left, and then February came. And so one of my friends who was in my PhD program with me, who was also at this conference with me where I was talking about the things that I wanted to do, she called me and she said, Christy, I came across this position and I really think that you would be a perfect fit for it. So I looked it over, and immediately I was like, oh wow, this does sound really interesting. This sounds exactly like things that I would be interested in, but maybe out of fear, I don't know. Who knows what it is. I was not at first fully convinced that I was going to apply for the position because, again, I was happy where I was, but probably about 45 minutes of thinking about it, I was talking with my husband. I was like, you know what? I think I'm going to apply for this position. And you know what? Who knows what will happen? I'm going to apply. And so I got a call back. I say a call back like I was doing acting. I got an email asking for an interview, rocked the interview. After the initial interview, I then moved forward in the process to another interview. And if you know anything about academia, academic interviews are like the craziest, longest things ever. Like they plan for you a full day of things to do. So it started at, I want to say like 8 or 8:30 a.m. and it went until 5 p.m. Literally a whole day of interviewing and meeting with different personnel, meeting with different people on campus, talking about your research, about your interest, about who you are, and then also giving a job talk for a portion of the time, having lunch with people. Like it is a full day process of things. And what was really cool about this interview was that I got a chance to approach it by just being me, like being fully Christy, because it wasn't a desperate, I absolutely need a job. I had a job that I loved. And so I was able to say, well, these are the things that are important to me. These are the things that I value. These are the things that I want, and really see how my values, my wants, my needs align with the university's values, wants, and needs, and come together of this is what would be convincing to me for me to take this position. So early May, they called me and they offered me the position, and of course we went through some negotiations, but it was a resounding yes. Everything that mattered to me within taking this position, God was like, here, like you can have this. The pay that I wanted, the support that I wanted, the flexibility over my schedule that I want, a really freaking amazing, great schedule that I wanted, time to be able to do the things that I need to do and do the other things that matter in my life as well. Like God He literally gave everything to me. And over these past few months, actually, I have just been soaking it all in, absorbing it, just really seeing how when God does something and he lays a thing out, he just leaves no stone unturned. And it really is mind blowing when he does something, because you know that you can't take any credit for it. As I have been reflecting on it, I had some takeaways that I wanted to share with you guys. If you have some dreams that are in your heart, things that you know that God has placed in your heart, or things that you really, really want to be able to do, my encouragement to you, one, is don't give up on it. But there are some things that are in place and that are part of the process. So one of the things that I keep thinking about and that I keep coming to is that it was already mine. Like, I did not have to strive for it. When God places something in your heart that you want deep down inside, it's not going to be something that you have to strive for. Yes, there is going to be work involved with it, but it's not going to have to be something that you have to fight for. You're not in competition with anybody for the thing that's already yours. I think so often we feel like the things that we want to do are just oversaturated. There are people who already had this idea. There are people who are already going for this job. There are people who are already having YouTube videos or whatever, people who are already in this market. But if it is a dream of yours and it is something that God has placed on your heart, then what he has for you is for you. Your job is just to put in the work, to do the thing that it is that you're supposed to do. And when is the right time, that thing is going to happen. There might be other people who are doing great things and there is a place for them, but there's also still a place for you as well. If you have pure intentions around it and it's not just, I want this thing because somebody else has it. I think we definitely sometimes want things that other people have and they're not actual dreams of our heart or things that we want to do. But when there's a dream that is placed in our hearts of things that we want to do, I think it's necessary for us to know that there's a place for that and that room will be made for that. And that's a nice segue into the fact that yes, there are things that we have to do. We actually have to put in some hard work before we see the fruit of those things. For me to be able to ultimately get to this position, I had to make that leap of faith to go after the PhD program and put in the hard work to do it. I had to apply for the job. I had to do really well at my previous position. Like there were things that I had to do and ways that I needed to be prepared so that once this position became available, I was ready for it. There's a quote, is that Oprah, where it says, luck is where preparation meets opportunity. something like that. I could be totally butchering up, but I think that's what it is. Luck is where preparation meets opportunity. If we have dreams in our heart and we're not doing anything towards that, like, God is not going to just hand it to us. He's not going to hand us anything without us putting in that work. We have things that we need to do so that God can do whatever it is that He's going to do to manifest this blessing, manifest this thing that it is that we want in our lives. But if we're sitting back expecting, I want to grow on YouTube, but I am only going to make videos every now and then, I'm never going to learn from people who are doing it better than me, that dream can't possibly become a reality because we're not putting in the work. Or if it's, I want to be a doctor, but I don't want to go to school, well, then you don't want to be a doctor. Or I want this, but I don't want to do the thing that it takes to get to this thing. We don't actually want that. We have to first put in that work to be able to make this thing happen, and then God will do the rest. And it is amazing what it is that He will do when we do our part. And it will look like, wow, this thing just kind of came out of nowhere. But really, it was a thing that God already had for you, but we just needed to put in the work to be able to make it happen. And part of that work is also making some scary leaps of faith. For me, it was making the leap of faith to actually go after this PhD program that I really believed God had for me, but it was scary because it meant that I was not going to have a full-time job anymore. For you, it might be something different. I don't know what that leap of faith is. I know for me, because I'm also like, I love my YouTube channel and I want like that to grow as well. It means that I'm having to constantly put myself out there and to see what is working and what doesn't work. Maybe for you, it is jumping out there and starting a business. You don't know exactly how it's going to work out. You don't feel like you are fully qualified to be able to do all of the things. But if you just make that leap of faith, then God really does direct those next steps. Sometimes we see some immediate successes, sometimes we see some immediate failures, but either direction, we are learning from those things and learning how to rise to the occasion, learning how to be better, learning how to grow, and learning what it is that we are supposed to be doing so that at the appropriate time, when God hands us this thing, we're actually ready for it. I think the other thing that has been kind of big for me as I've been thinking about it is that we're gonna have to wait. Like, waiting is just part of the process. It is not something that we can bypass. We so often, I know for me so much, I like to just be there. When I start a thing, I want to be there. I hate the agonizing like weight of trying to get there. Just because things aren't happening at that immediate moment does not mean things are not happening. It's during that waiting season that we are learning, that we are growing, that we're learning more about ourselves, that we're learning more about our craft, whatever it is that we are trying to get to, we're learning about that. If that thing were to just come to us without that waiting season, without that waiting period of learning, we're not ready for it. We're not ready to be able to handle that thing if we don't have the wait. I like to think about people who have won the lottery. So often, there are some people who are outliers, but for the majority of people who win the lottery, oftentimes in just a few years, they lose all of this money because it was just handed to them. And so they didn't learn the strategies needed in order to be able to maintain that. How do I say no to family members who want to eat up all my money? How do I say no to myself when I want to go buy these big things? How do I make sure that my finances are in order for this, that, and the other? They just don't have the skills to be able to do that. When things are just handed to us, we're not ready for it. However, it's during that waiting season where we learn how to be equipped to manage that blessing when it arrives and when God is ready to give it to us. And then I think one of the last things that I have learned is that side steps can be entry points into what is better. And so what I mean by that is the position that I ended up taking after I graduated my PhD, that was a sidestep. Even though it was an amazing sidestep, it was a sidestep because it wasn't the ultimate thing that I wanted to do. It was during that position that I learned what I really and got more solidified about what I really wanted out of my life. So I learned that I wanted to do these YouTube videos and I wanted to be a YouTuber. I learned that what type of position that I actually really wanted with my PhD and how I wanted to be able to utilize that for my future. I learned so much about myself. I learned how to be able to public speak. I learned how to create courses, things that are going to be vital and instrumental, not only just for the faculty position that I've accepted, but for other things that I want to do for my future. If you take nothing else away from this video, I want to encourage you that if you have some dreams that are in your heart, do not let them go. God never forgets about the things that He has placed in our hearts. Sometimes even the things that we are not actively praying about or actively thinking about or even actively going after, God doesn't forget those things, especially if we have put that work on and are constantly putting in work that will lead us toward that direction. He has not forgotten. He has not forgotten about that. And so if you have that, know that you are not forgotten. Know that that dream is just not some wild fantasy, that God has something very, very special for you. And at the right time, He is going to give it to you. And you are going to be so excited about it when it does happen. It is so easy for us to get discouraged when it seems like things are not happening or we don't see that things are happening fast enough. And so we protect ourselves by just kind of letting that dream go or doing other things. But hold on to it, babe. So if you enjoyed this video or you found it helpful, I would love it if you just give it a big thumbs up. Subscribe if you're not already subscribed, and just know that God has you. Your dreams are on the way and you are just on time to live the life of your dreams. Love you. See you in my next. Mwah. Bye.